Have you ever searched for the truth only to walk away more confused than before? Have you ever confronted someone only to have your words twisted and turned against you? Some people have a way of turning every conversation into a maze with no exit. The more you try to bring clarity, the more lost you feel. But what if I told you there's a different way? That true strength isn't found in confrontation, but in wisdom. Today, we're going to talk about how to deal with narcissists without losing your peace, and how God can guide you out of this destructive cycle. Because sometimes, the greatest victory isn't in fighting, but in knowing and how to walk away. There are battles that can't be won with words. Have you ever tried to defend yourself only to end up emotionally drained? Have you noticed that no matter how hard you try to bring clarity, some people simply refuse to see the truth? Living with a narcissist can feel like being trapped in a hall of mirrors. Every attempt at dialogue reflects back a distortion. You seek understanding but find confusion. You ask for respect but get manipulation. And little by little, your peace fades away. But there is a better way. The Bible teaches us, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still, Exodus 14:14. This isn't a call to passivity, but to discernment. God doesn't ask us to fight battles that only He can win. Today, we're going to learn how to deal with these people without falling into their traps. We'll explore the wisdom of C.S. Lewis and the scriptures to discover how to protect our hearts and find true peace. Because sometimes the answer isn't in confrontation, but in refusing to play their game. Imagine standing in front of a flickering flame swaying in the wind. You try to steady it by blowing on it, but that only makes it waver even more. The harder you try to control it, the more it slips away. Confronting a narcissist is just like that. The urge to expose their lies, demand justice, or hold them accountable can feel overwhelming. After all, the truth needs to be told, right? But what happens when that truth isn't met with humility, but with attack? The Bible warns us in Proverbs 26:4, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him." In other words, some battles aren't meant to be fought because they only drag us deeper into the very chaos we're trying to escape. C.S. Lewis in the Screwtape Letters warns us how the enemy can twist even our best intentions against us. The desire for justice, when misdirected, can become a trap. Narcissists don't seek truth, they seek to win, no matter the cost. By confronting them, you risk getting caught in an endless cycle of distortion and manipulation. Your words are turned against you, your intentions are questioned, and in the end, you're left feeling more exhausted and frustrated than before. So, what's the alternative? If confrontation doesn't work, how do we protect our peace? In the next few minutes, we'll explore God's strategy for handling this situation without falling into the emotional trap of exhaustion. Have you ever walked into a conversation looking for clarity, only to leave questioning yourself? Have you ever tried to explain something, only to have your words twisted and thrown back at you? Dealing with a narcissist is like wandering through a maze where every exit just leads you back to the beginning. They follow a predictable pattern: deflect, blame, and confuse. When confronted, they rarely take responsibility. Instead, they turn the conversation into a hall of mirrors. You point out an issue, and suddenly, you're the one being accused. You expose the truth, but somehow you're the one doubting your own reality. The Bible warns us about this in Isaiah 5:20. "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness." A narcissist flips reality upside down, making honest conversations impossible. C.S. Lewis, in the Screwtape Letters, describes how small distortions can gradually lead someone to doubt what's real. The enemy doesn't need to convince us of a massive lie, he just needs to plant tiny seeds of confusion until our perception becomes blurred. And that's exactly how a narcissist works. Slowly, they make you question your own memories, feelings, and instincts. You start wondering, Am I overreacting? Am I the problem? This is gaslighting, a tactic designed to wear down your confidence and weaken your discernment. Asterisk, but God calls us to the truth. In John 8:32, it says, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." To escape this maze, we must recognize manipulation for what it is, a power game we refuse to play. But if confrontation doesn't work, and every conversation turns into confusion, what's the path to true freedom? In the next chapter, we'll talk about the biblical strategy to break free from this cycle without losing your peace. Imagine a man trying to build a house on sinking sand. He reinforces the walls, adjusts the foundation, adds more and more support. But nothing works. The ground beneath him keeps shifting. No matter how hard he tries, the structure won't hold. That's exactly what it's like to be in a relationship with a narcissist. No matter how much effort you put in to fix things, the foundation is always unstable. The hard truth? You can't change someone who doesn't want to change. And if you keep trying, you'll only exhaust yourself. But God never called us to live in an emotional prison. He gives us a clear solution. Set boundaries. In Matthew 7-6, Jesus warns us, "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." This means that not every conversation needs to happen, and not every truth needs to be explained to someone who refuses to listen. C.S. Lewis, in The Great Divorce, describes characters who reject truth simply because accepting it would require humility. They cling to their illusions because facing reality would be too painful. Narcissists do the same. They resist truth because admitting it would mean acknowledging their own flaws. So what's the role of someone dealing with a narcissist? Set clear boundaries and refuse to engage in manipulation. That might look like not justifying every decision. Narcissists love dragging you into endless debates. You don't owe them an explanation for every choice you make. Not reacting to provocation. They try to trigger an emotional response so they can use it against you. Sometimes, silence is your best defense, breaking the cycle of manipulation. The moment you recognize a conversation is turning into a mind game, walk away. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. In Proverbs 4:23, we're given a crucial reminder. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guarding your heart means protecting yourself from distortions that could steal your peace. But what if the narcissist refuses to respect your boundaries and keeps trying to manipulate you? How do you stay firm? In the next chapter, we'll talk about the power of surrendering this battle to God and trusting Him to fight for you. Imagine a bird caught in a snare. It flaps its wings, struggling to break free, but every movement only tightens the trap. Then finally, it stops fighting. And in that stillness, a merciful hand reaches down, loosens the snare, and sets it free. That's what happens when we keep trying to handle a narcissist on our own. We want justice, we want them to see the truth. We want to fix what's broken. But this battle, when fought in our own strength, only drains us. The Bible gives us a powerful promise. In Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. This doesn't mean being passive, it means recognizing that some battles aren't ours to fight. God sees every injustice, every manipulation, every lie, and He acts at the right time. C.S. Lewis, in the Screwtape Letters, reminds us that the enemy loves keeping us trapped in cycles of frustration and despair because it pulls us away from God's peace. When we let go of the need to prove ourselves to someone who will never admit the truth, we step into the rest that comes from trusting in divine justice. But how do we actually practice this surrender in real life? Use prayer as your shield. Instead of wasting energy trying to change them, pray for God to change your heart and give you discernment. Detach emotionally. You don't need validation from a narcissist. Your worth is anchored in God. not in the opinion of someone who distorts reality. Trust God's timing. He reveals the truth when the time is right, often without you needing to do a thing. In Psalm 62:6, we read, "Truly He is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will not be shaken." When we stop fighting against someone who refuses to change and hand it over to God, we find something a narcissist can never steal: our peace. But walking away and trusting God isn't just about cutting ties. There's one final step to true freedom, and that's what we'll talk about in the next chapter. Imagine a traveler crossing a desert. With every step, the sand shifts beneath him, making it impossible to walk in a straight line. He struggles against the wind, trying to find stability, but no matter how hard he fights, he keeps losing his way. Then finally, he realizes he needs to stop focusing on the ground beneath him and start looking up, fixing his eyes on the only thing that never changes: the sky above. Dealing with a narcissist is just like that. You try to reason, to change the dynamic, to make things right, but everything stays unstable. True freedom only comes when you stop fighting the shifting sand and lift your eyes to God. Jesus gives us a powerful truth in John 8:36. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. The freedom He offers isn't based on circumstances. It's an internal decision to stop letting manipulation and toxic cycles control your life. C.S. Lewis, in Mere Christianity, reminds us that real transformation happens when we stop trying to control everything and surrender to what God has for us. This means accepting that you can't change them. Only God can transform hearts. Your job is not to fix the narcissist. It's to protect your peace, forgiving without allowing new abuse. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone continue to hurt you. It means releasing resentment and moving forward, choosing healthy relationships. God calls us to connections built on truth and love, not manipulation and fear. In Philippians 4:7, we find the final promise: "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." That peace is yours for the taking. When you let go of the need to be understood by someone who will never admit their faults, you make space for real healing. But this journey doesn't end here. In the final section, we'll wrap it all up and take one last step to ensure that your freedom isn't temporary but permanent. The cycle of manipulation, the distortion of reality, the endless struggle to be understood. It can all make you feel trapped. But today, you've discovered a liberating truth. It's not your job to change a narcissist. It's your job to protect your peace. God never called you to live on an emotional battlefield. He invites you to rest in His justice, set wise boundaries, and trust that He fights for you. As Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." C.S. Lewis teaches us that evil wants to keep us distracted, stuck in pointless battles. But when we let go of the need for confrontation and choose peace, we step into true freedom. Now, I ask you, are you ready to choose God's peace over the narcissist's chaos? If this message spoke to you, write in the comments, "I choose God's peace over chaos." Share this video with someone who needs this truth. And don't forget to subscribe for more faith-filled content. May God bless you and guard your heart. See you in the next video.